All right, welcome everybody. It's Sunday and we are gonna load ourselves up with a whole bunch of replay casts today. I'm your host today, Aero, and I've got my good friend Monkus. Say hello to the wide world of people out there today, Monkus.
Hello, wide world of people.
So we've got quite a schedule ahead of us here. I'm gonna pop that up here real quick for you. So we have 4 matches on the plate today. We've got 2 from Div D, 1 from Div C, and 1 from B. So a little bit of variety, 1 from D West, D East there. And these are all matches that were not able to be cast live. Many of them because they were cast on Thursday. And then of course Arrogant Nephilim and Spooky Ghost because they were, playing in the middle of the night. So we are gonna jump right into it. We don't have so since we're doing replay casts, it's gonna be done a little bit differently. We don't have the drafting, so we won't have that time to talk about all those wonderful things. We don't know who who picked the map. We don't know what the bans were, anything like that. So we're just gonna be basically going straight into the action with these, so they'll go a little bit faster. So Monkus, this first series here is going to be 4 Uthers and an Alex versus Censored. Censored, I believe, is actually I believe both of these teams are new teams. Are you familiar with either of these teams at all?
No, I'm not.
Okay, well that's fair. So I do know the results of all of the matches because I had to go out and download all the replays. However, Monkus doesn't know most of them other than the one that he watched. So this will be nice and open for Monkus, and Ronan says that Censored is a new team. So welcome, Ronan. Glad that you guys could put together your team and join NGS this season. So, all right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and get this started here.
Now, the most important thing on this map is gonna be the rotation top.
So there are your team comps here.
And the blue team is which team?
Blue team is 4 Uthers and an Alex. The red team is Censored.
All right.
So I'll go ahead and announce the blue team. For blue team, we've got Excelsior on Alexstrasza, Brintone on Greymane, Saint on Kel'Thuzad, Judo Chop on Dahaka, and Lulu Bell on Varian.
And for Censored, we have Geo on Leoric, Rip the Jacker on Orphea, Ronan on Diablo, Furafrel on Maiev, and Rhaegar or Gallows on.
Alrighty. And already a little bit of silly chat going out about not being able to get through the door, and only one team managed to figure out that was a joke. But it does look like right out of the gate, 4 Uthers and Alex waiting to hold their level 1s until they actually get to that gate. The Lion's Fang coming out for Varian, or rather the talent that enhances Lion's Fang, Lion's Maw.
That usually means Colossus Smash.
Yeah, so we can come back to that later because it actually benefits the Twin Blades a little bit better, and High Kings is actually a little bit better for Colossus Smash, but that's from a DPS theory crafting.
Let's see here. Good engage on top.
Yeah, so we see the battle of the not quite full tanks yet, as Lulu Bell on the Varian, as well as Diablo without the souls. Both of those kind of half tanks until they get their souls or level 4.
That is a main tank variant, so it's probably a taunt build.
Yeah, and that was the other thing I was gonna say is that having that additional slow for the full 2 seconds is really valuable from a tank perspective as well, which is also why it's helpful for Fury.
It also helps the healing. It's the same that tank had.
Yeah, big root onto Orphea there from Kel'Thuzad, but not enough damage this early in the game. But getting those stacks, 4 stacks currently for Kel'Thuzad, about a quarter of the way on Diablo's souls.
Right. I don't think Censored really wants to take any fights. They should just be clearing and moving, because any team fight benefits for Uthers with Kel'Thuzad getting.
Yeah, exactly. And both teams have kind of similar wave clear. The Kel'Thuzad gives them some okay wave clear at the Q, the Greymane as well, and then Orphea's got a little bit longer cooldown to do it, but clears fairly quickly. They do have that
Maiev is going the physical damage build, so she has better early game wave clear with that.
So we do see Orphea rotate down, manages to get a lot of damage in onto Judo Chop, so Dahaka there has to back up and use his tap. Yeah, sorry, Rodney. Widescreen. I really like it. I'm gonna probably at some point try to run it without the widescreen and see, how it goes. I just like the value that it provides on the screen here. So.
Got a lot of standard picks from both teams. Diablo going the auto attack build. Just not always the meta pick, but let's see how we can do with it.
Yeah, I think it's usually the W talent one for the flame healing and additional healing and souls from that. But auto attacks, if you're able to sit on a hero, then that certainly can get some pretty solid value.
I even see people go the W build even when they don't pick any other talents benefiting the W, because it just provides so much healing and souls. Big dive down here on Varian. He just got to level 4. He might be going down. Barely.
Yeah, and that Vault of the Wardens manages to keep Maiev from getting caught in that route. And all the while in this 5v4, Greymane's hanging out over here working on the Bruiser camp. And with his increased, I'm assuming, what? Actually, I don't know what day this was. So this may or may not be after the patch. I think it was after the patch. But First Blood is going to be on Kel'Thuzad, which I didn't catch. But there's a tongue on to Ronin, pulling him back into the team. Looks like he's going to get away, but
200 health. Down goes 2 members of for Uthers.
Yeah, and Alex is going to get some of those gems, but not all of them. About half. No, it looks like maybe she got the other part. So both of the frontline of Uther, the Varian and the Dahaka, going down in that engage, trying to get that Diablo. Hashtag not worth. And with that, we do see the first web weavers coming over for Censored here. So they're electing to push mostly bottom with Leo in the middle, get what value they can because they were already down here thanks to that fight. They're going to get this wall. Already the top lane cleared up as Greymane clears that up pretty quickly.
Yeah, top got cleared. Leo had to go mid and clear the camp because the camp will automatically clear the web weavers without them getting much accomplished.
Yeah, and Judo Chop again in a bit of trouble here.
Big root!
Does get away until Diablo charges, and Maev's going to finish it off with a couple of autos there. And down goes that first fort as well.
Kel'Thuzad now has access to Glacial Spike. He's almost a real hero now.
Yeah, that
gotta get 10 more stacks.
That 30 stack, giving him the 75% additional spell power, is huge for him. Gives him the potential to blow up some of these lower health heroes and significantly reduce the health of the big ones like Diablo.
Yeah, with Kel'Thuzad and Varian, for Uthers, they're extremely mid to late game because you can't do anything before level 4 and Kel'Thuzad gets.
So we do see Leoric getting pulled back there. Now the taunt. And that's a combo that if Leo doesn't have his Wraith walk up and Kel'Thuzad has 30 stacks done and has his ult, then that Leo just dies. So we'll see. Gonna have to keep an eye on that as the game progresses.
Now, if this was post-patch, they buffed Greymane's damage output and his Q build ever so slightly.
Yeah, and we do see... Well, hold up. Leo gets taunted and grabbed there, and it's going to be Leo going down. Kel'Thuzad gets a chain onto Ronin, pulls him back, but there's no route to follow it up. So just the half half health for this round.
I don't even think he's dead if he gets rooted, but not with 100 souls and also Rhaegar healing him.
Yeah, not by himself. Gonna need more than that Kel'Thuzad. Taunt coming in onto the Leo, but it's gonna be Kel'Thuzad going down thanks to that APOC, followed up by the Warden's Cage and Eternal Feast, pulling Judo Chop back into the fight. And
that is one spicy taco. You have the Entomb and the APOC. Got great engage there. Trying to get these last 2 kills. Can't quite finish Alex off.
Yeah, and Greymane turning in his coins. He needed one more to get the Web Weavers there. With Dahaka down, probably would have been okay to get that turn in. But they just didn't have enough to do it.
Yeah,
and
that was a great use of ults. They have the Entomb to trap people, APOC to keep them in place, and then Tomb and Cage to just build up the damage. They were just a little late with the Cage coming out on the Cage.
So we do see the Lion's Maw completed for Lulubelle there, so that'll help with those slows. And you know, I think what we saw with that fight is just simply that, you know, 4 Uthers and Alex, either maybe they weren't paying attention to how close Censored was to getting to level 10, and Censored just picking those level 10s as quickly as they could and get that engage, or they just thought that they'd be okay going into it, and obviously that did not turn out well for them. So gotta watch those level 10s and be mindful of that, taking that fight down a Greymane as well, I think.
It looked like they were just surprised by the sudden level 10 and the Entomb that came out and locked them down.
Yeah, and Leo started it all off, and everybody else, as they selected, managed to get their picks in. So here comes Diablo right now. The Ancestral going out onto Leo early. The chain missing everybody, but
and here we go!
There's that combo. Feast going on forever. The big pull back into it.
3 people who weren't in the combo to start with run into the cage.
And we see both of the mages go down, both Kel'Thuzad and Orphea.
That's a big problem since Orphea is so much of their damage right now.
Yeah, their combo is really 90% of the value here, but it looks like Leo's going to get caught in the middle and will go down. That's about 10 gems, it looks like, that will be lost for Censored.
Yeah, for the amount of cooldowns used and Wombo potential, it's really shocking that only Kel'Thuzad went down, and it's really a shame because they need to. Their team is based around their ult usage.
Yeah, Rodney calling out in chat, that went surprisingly well for the blue team. That is absolutely true. And here come the Web Weavers for Censored. They do have a level 13 advantage, and they're looking to push the top lane. They pushed the bot lane on their first set of Web Weavers, got that fort, and here comes 4 Uthers and an Alex to get some defense up here.
4 Uthers did a really good job of taking that mid camp, so it will clear mid by itself, and they can focus on the worrisome lane.
So I think Judo Chop there missed a great opportunity, had the potential to get a tongue out onto Rip the Jacker, pull him in, but instead used the isolation, which just ran out.
Now, 4 Uthers actually has the advantage. There might be a Web Weaver out, but it's a 4v5 right now.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like it's going to matter as Brintone deep into the backline by himself gets all the damage of that feast and will go down.
I think with an Entomb there, I think that might have been a full team wipe, but Leo was not present at all for that fight.
Yeah, Leo is down in the mid lane working on that fort, gets that mid fort, and of course the bottom Web Weavers getting just so much value. Push down that wall, and with this massive wave, I think they're going to get this keep as well.
Yeah, it's amazing. Winning a 4v5 and getting 2 structures with the same Web Weaver summon, that's pretty huge.
And these teams are, you know, not too far outside of general meta picks. The Dahaka, I think, is a little bit less value on this map than he could otherwise. You don't see a ton of Kel'Thuzad, but it's not, you know, out of the realm of possibility for, at this point, any level of play. And all of Censored's team is really, you know, pretty available. But here goes that engage.
Here comes, Feast doesn't quite hit anybody. But Feast is one of the shorter cooldowns that they have. Leo goes down, but manages to get out that Entomb.
Ronan in a little bit of trouble potentially. Gets taunted by the Varian, pulled in, and Orphea also gets rooted as Diablo goes down thanks to that Kel'Thuzad root. And Maya Fure Frey there in a full group of blue health bars, and down goes 32, 33 gems. That
is the full turn-in that they lost there. They went from having the potential for double turn-in to no turn.
And now, 4 Uthers and an Alex looking to get some life out of this, get their, hopefully, first structure in the game. They are down 6 teams. Let's take a look at these talents here real quick.
I like their decision to push top. They're not going to get much value out of the other 2 lanes. They'll get self-cleared. And right now, top is their best chance to win. Pushing in top, get boss.
I absolutely agree with you. And we do see now... Dahaka still hasn't even selected his level 13 talent. I wonder if Dahaka forgot he had a level 13. I was thinking for a second there that maybe they'd gotten to 16. And, you know, I gotta point out, 3 people just got hit by that Webweaver wave.
Wow. Big one.
Yeah, we got the Cage and the Eternal Feast just melting for Uthers and an Alex. And 4 of them will go down as a combination of that big Warden's Cage, Eternal Feast, and some, oh, by the way, some damage from Furifray there with the Fan of Knives resets, too.
When the other team has such area control wombo combo potential, you gotta always be aware of your positioning. You can't let them just pop off like that.
And so now, what we were just talking about, going in the exact opposite direction as Censored has the potential to win the game here with this full health boss potential. There's no health on that fort, so this goes right into a keep. And with their combo, I mean, that Entomb, Eternal Feast, those are both very short cooldowns. So even if they don't have the rest of the combo, they still have the potential for Fan of Knife resets and just heavy push from the Eternal Feast. But they're not going to push with the boss. They're going to turn in their gems.
Right. I think that, though, at this point, they should wait at least for the APOC, because Entomb plus APOC with the Feast, it means that they're going to eat at least 4 shots from that.
Yeah, what I'd like to see them do, and it looks like they may be doing it, is at least come down and get this Bruiser Camp. Yeah, there we go. Because they got the boss, so that's great. You get your free turn-in, but what else can you do with it? And this is the most aggressive play they can make that's also relatively safe, because if they lose a team fight here, it's also a problem, right? They don't want to lose pre-20.
Right. I might have pushed with the boss there. It killed a very low health fort and almost killed a tower. They could have gotten a similar value just by pushing, basically.
Yeah, I think they could have gotten a little bit more, keeping the team away from the boss as much as possible. You know, but instead they're going to go ahead and grab as many siege camps as they can. They're going to get Leo to soak as much as they can, and then they're looking for that level 20 value at this point.
They have turn-in now. With the lanes this far pushed in, their turn-in could easily win them the game off top.
Yeah, so they have to weigh the value of doing a full turn-in here, getting those web weavers, versus waiting for 20 and then doing it.
For Uthers, they know that they are turning in. They really need to stop them here and take this fight before 20. This is the fight for Uthers want.
And they need to spread out, because they can't have that big Entomb Feast APOC all coming into their face.
They need the positioning to have Kel'Thuzad and way far behind his tanks.
And both of the tanks coming right in. There's the Eternal Feast, and they're going to be stuck in it for a while. The Tether coming in. Warden, or Maya getting away just barely, but look at how long that Eternal Feast goes on those 2 tanks. The root going out on a Gallows and Ronin, though, and that could be a dead Diablo, and it is. That's exactly what you're looking for if you're 4 Uthers somehow surviving that Entomb. And that's kind of why I brought up, like, you almost want to wait for that level 20, because once you're level 20, you get that Entomb, they just die, right? They just get the silence, they can't do anything. Varian certainly doesn't protect himself. Dahaka doesn't burrow. And so those 2 tanks die, and then you win automatically. And so now, there's level 20. If they just waited this long, they wouldn't have had a death, and they wouldn't be losing structure damage.
Exactly. They had to know Uthers wanted the fight. Yes, the turn-in will win you the game, but you don't need to force the turn-in in a equal talent tier situation. You have the advantage. Be patient. Take the 20. Take the...
We do see Dahaka clearing up bot lane, keeping that pressure away from their core here, trying to soak into 20 as much as possible. At this point, you know, since they don't have Dahaka and Censored knows it, I would be really cautious about your positioning. I wouldn't be going too far into their face, because that's, even without the Diablo, it's still the potential for a very fast death combo.
But does Dahaka have Burrow? Because he can instantly join the fight.
Well, let's find out. He doesn't, because he used it to go soak.
It's my opinion, never use Burrow to soak, always use it to join team fight.
Yeah, unless like your core is in imminent danger, then okay, sure, but which it wasn't at the time. But yeah, I agree. So they're electing to help stop bottom first as we get this level 20 web weaver for Censored. And again, I don't know. I think, in all seriousness, I think that I would have sent Dahaka to go soak them to 20 and just kind of push this back a little bit like they did and walk away from it.
You're absolutely right. They should be clearing top and mid, soaking, not taking this fight, get 20, and then mount it. And Censored should just be running at them, just YOLO it.
Yeah, at this point, they've got all of their ults available. They've got the Warden's Cage. They missed the Entomb, the Isolation coming out. There's the APOC and Eternal Feast onto Varian. And the Lifebinder going out does keep Varian alive, but Saints is going to get charged into that wall and obliterated thanks to the Maiev. And here come the resets. They're all lined up so perfectly. Look at those fan of knives constantly.
Everyone's low. This is anyone. Oh my god. Can Kel'Thuzad do it all by himself? No!
And Geo dies. I assume he had some kind of dot damage. No, I think he got blasted by the core chain or something.
He was at 2 health, and I think Minion just touched.
Yeah, and so that's going to be game number 1 going over to Censored, it looks like. A Minion spider got him.
That was anybody's game at the end there.
Killidan is having PTSD flashbacks. You know what? I understand that.
One funny thing that happened in that fight, Leoric throws out the Entomb, but since he got hit with the isolation, he was the only person silenced. It was a weird little image there.
Yeah. So I've got the stats page up. Go ahead and talk about that for a minute while I get the details for the next game set up here real quick.
Okay, I think one of the biggest things to look at here is is for Uthers, their damage numbers. You have Kel'Thuzad with 95,000 damage. It's basically his entire team right there doing the damage. And when you have a Grey Mane on your team, you generally wanted to secure kills, but he went Cursed Bullet. I don't think that was the right pick here, because with Go for the Throat, he could have finished off a lot of those really low health heroes. Like so many fights they were ending with Diablo and Rhaegar and Maiev walking away with basically no health. Meanwhile, on the other side, on Censored, you have a very much more even distribution of the damage between the 2 damage dealers, Orphea and Maiev. Orphea with 72,000, Maiev with 81,000. They have a nice share of the kills among their team. Leoric getting a lot of death value, but you look at the tank damage, it's on the lower side, but they provided so much CC for their damage dealers to just absolutely burst down. I like this comp that Censored did with the lockdown. They executed it very well, and yeah, I think it shows.
For sure. All right. Let's go ahead and quit out of this. and we'll get set up for the second game.
Honest to God, I think that's a 100% different game if Greymane just switches his ult.
So our second game is going to be on Infernal Shrines. And I'm ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Shrines is another map that is ruled by the rotation.
Oh, right. I got to do the lobby first. Silly me. Start this game.
The rotation is super important on Spider Tomb. Here, it is just as important, that bottom mid rotation. Interesting that Maya of Orphea were open again for Censored. I would have figured that one of those heroes would have been.
Yeah, you don't see the ETC, so I'm guessing the ETC was banned. Did I say ETC? Diablo. You also don't see the Leoric, so I'm wondering if they may have banned even Leoric. So, all right, so let's take a look at our teams here. So for Uthers and an Alex, we've got Excelsior on Ana, Brintone on Sylvanas, Lulubelle on Jaina, Judo Chop on Arthas, and Artanis is going to be played by Saint.
And on Censored, we have Geo on Imperius, Furifrel on Maya, Rip the Jacker on Orphea, Gallows on Lucio, and Ronin on Muradin. Out of these two teams, I think that Censored has the stronger early game here, but 4 Uthers has much better wave.
Yeah, they have fantastic wave clear. They've got the potential to, burn through those rotations very quickly, to burn through the shrines very quickly. They've got the push power out of that Sylvanas. So if they can win the team fights, then they've got huge potential here. That being said, I mean, we saw the power of a Eternal Feast and Maiev combo, or really just Orphea Maiev combo in that last game, and there still are a lot of stuns on this team. So I wouldn't be surprised though to see a crushing Jaws, and with the narrow pathways that the teams have to go through to get here, that could be a very easy way to knock out a fast couple of kills.
With Jaws, they have a lot more control than with Feast. You lose the damage, but given that you have Lucio, Imperius, Muradin, getting that extra lockdown would really help. And one interesting thing, Sylvanas went bottom instead of going into the team fight, but she didn't go up, use her trait to take a tower or try to take this bottom well, which is wide open to start with. Sylvanas could do either one of those things very well and escape safely.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. I guess maybe they were just looking for the XP bonus, trying to get the wave cleared as quickly as possible, as we do see Censored picking up their Impaler camp, and now 4 Uthers and an Alex get theirs as well. And don't forget, if this was post-patch, which I think that it probably was, these Impalers got a pretty significant buff. I mean, it's like a 50 to 65, so 15%, I'm sorry, no, a 30% buff to their auto attack damage.
Right.
Pretty hefty.
The issue I find is that Sylvanas went the stacking W quest. That means she wanted to be in that early team fight, get any stacks on her W that she could, and then go rotate.
And we do see there Ana going for the grenade build, which of course was slightly nerfed with the most recent patch. What else do we have? We do see a little bit different build out of Jaina. So we got the Lingering Chill and the Arcane Intellect.
Yeah, Lingering Chill is fine. Arcane Intellect, maybe she's going a Blizzard build.
Could be, especially with the Shrine, putting more value into the wave clear.
One thing I find slightly odd, 4 Uthers has a much better wave clear comp with just by virtue of having Jaina, but they're opting for a 1-3-1 instead of a rogue.
Which seems strange, given that they have Sylvanas, given that they have Jaina. Like, they have so much wave clear. I don't know. Oh, but a lot of damage coming out from Brintone onto Gallows, trying to take out that Lucio, but Furifrey? Yeah, anyways, Maiev was there to keep it from being too bad.
And Sylvanas is going to be very late. Like you said, these goats got buffed. They need to be cleared ASAP. So it's interesting that Censored isn't pushing their advantage. They're having Imperius soak. I guess they get them to 7. They could have very easily taken the Shrine up 5.
Yeah, and so now we've got a 4v4 here, so it is even in that regard. Arthas has almost no mana, though. And Gallo's being really cheeky, walking right into the entire team as Imperius, apparently off-screen there, manages to take out Sylvanas in the bot lane. Imperius also got some adjustments in the most recent patch.
Yeah,
oh, the root onto Muradin.
This is definitely after the patch, because I see Battle Hunger, which increases the healing done by his trait instead of giving him healing on his trait.
So right now both teams are kind of just poking at each other, working on their defenders, and they're keeping pretty close, but that was a whole lot of damage going out on 4 Uthers there.
And they were just all running away all clumped. That is a Maiev dream to have the enemy team run away in a clump because you just throw out the knives, but I guess he missed one reset.
Yeah, and Sylvanas did come up here to try to get them the aggression in this point to help them to finish off. They need 5 more at this point.
Yeah, I think they get this. If I'm Imperius at this point, you weren't there for the entire fight. You should just keep pushing bottom, get the value that you can, and then go back to...
Yeah, I think Gio's looking at the XP factor, trying to get what he can out of each of these lanes and mitigate how much XP 4 Uthers can get as well. So we do see the leap over.
And Sylvanas very strong pushing with the protector.
Yeah.
They can very easily take down this fort because of the Sylvanas Black Arrows and the fact that it's a frozen hunter.
Yeah, for sure. They almost had that Maiev there with the Punisher jump as well as the root there. And they did get that first fort.
Yeah, getting the first fort is the best possible outcome of winning the first Punisher. You usually just expect to get towers, maybe the well. You never really are expecting to get the fort.
So Artanis gonna get their Impalers in the mid, and it looks like they're working on their Shaman camp here up in the top lane. The next shrine is gonna be a Mortar Punisher in the mid lane.
And Imperius is soaking. That did mean that even though they lost the Punisher in the fort, Censored is going to hit their level 10s first. I don't think it will matter too much because I think the Shrine will be up in time for Uthers to get him. Unless Censored just wants to run at the other team, which as soon as they hit 10, they absolutely lose shit.
Couple of talent choices being called out in chat. Segatai calling out the Arthas Death Coil instead of going with that. What is that talent? Icebound Fortitude, I think, is the talent. Mega Muffin calling out the Ice Lance without the Pierce at level 4, of course. So level 10's coming up.
Yeah, there's a bit of anti-synergy from Jaina going Arcane Intellect and Ice Lance. Like Blizzard, Arcane Intellect works fine, works great with that. But Ice Lance, yeah, you want that Pierce.
Yeah. So top lane, we've got the Shaman camp, we've got a Catapult up here. So they are getting this value in the top lane here, as it's going to get maybe even the full tower down. It's close. It's working on it.
Yeah, I will say with the goats getting buffed, the Bruiser camp on this lane has been nerfed since the patch before this one, where the towers actually will continually target the summoner as opposed to switching on to the little dogs.
So we do see, for Censored, similar ults for the same heroes that they had. So we've got the Eternal Feast, the Warden's Cage, Angelic Armaments for Imperius, Avatar, and Sound Barrier.
Here comes a one-man ring, followed by a cage. Didn't quite match up with that feat.
And amazingly, even with the Wailing Arrow, they didn't manage to kill the Maiev before they turned that back around and got the kill onto Jaina. And then followed up by a kill onto Arthas. And Saint in a bit of trouble here as well in the bot lane.
And up top, Imperius is pushing with that bruiser wave. They could get that forward unless there's a response from forward. Yeah, one thing that fight would have been so much worse for Uthers if the Feast had been on top of the cage, like lined up properly. Right,
yep. So we do see them looking to engage here. We've got Sylvanas in the top lane defending. They're already a bit behind, but there goes the Syndragosa. Eternal Feast goes in with the Celestial Charge, and Arthas is going to go down. But look at how much damage is there onto Lucio. He's got to pull back here. Right into Artanis and almost gets killed for it, but it's Artanis who goes down.
All these heroes at such low level, and right there, the Feast went out. Maiev had 3 or 4 people tethered, so they were stuck in the...
Ringo trying to slow him down.
Gets the Maiev. Oh.
Yeah, and that,
I think that was a bit of a panic ring right there.
Yeah, I think it was just meant to slow them down, keep them off, and I think it did its job. It also ultimately meant that Lucio popped that sound barrier to keep, I don't remember who it was, Maiev, I think, alive.
Yeah, those two ults are the exact same cooldowns.
So Mortar Punisher getting some damage in as again the Mortar Punisher's mortars actually increased in damage pretty significantly. So we saw Lulubelle there get to about half health just from the mortars. Gotta move out of those circles, folks.
One thing I'm not super thrilled by the Syndragosa pick when you already have Sylvanas. That severely cuts into Arthas' survivability.
Yeah, especially as your main tank. It slows them down, but you already have plenty of slows. I don't think it really was necessary either. I don't think that they planned to use Arthas as structure shutting down. I think it was more for the team fight potential. But I don't think it gets any significant value either.
Yeah, people are already going to be slowed from the virtue of having Jaina, and it's not worth losing all that survivability that you get from Army.
Agreed, for sure. So also OGGO, who is, I'm assuming, Geo, playing Imperius in the game here, brought up that it's Flyer Fry, like Firefly, except Flyer Fry for Maiev there.
Oh,
look at this team coming right in here. Oh, that's got to go on that face check. Wow. This is going into the... this
massive
is going into that.
Oh, but resets on the knives. Oh, that's a big wipe there.
Oh, gets the Q.
Arthas, what were you doing, man? You got away.
Jacker.
You were out of the life. You didn't have to go back in.
Oh man, you hate to see it. That's a so Valkymer has been asking for face check Bush moments, and that's definitely going to be one that I pass along as Lulubelle. Unfortunately, this team has the capability to stun you, to slow you with Lucio, boop you back with Lucio, stun you again. Like you cannot have even remotely aggressive positioning.
Right. Oh, and the thing about Censor's team, they're full-on dive comp. If you are slightly out of position, you are going to get bullied. And I would definitely call face checking a bush being slightly out of position.
Yeah, and only Muradin was in that bush, but it was kind of funny because you watched them look at each other for a moment. It was like high noon at the OK Corral, and then they just fell over and died.
Yeah, I could just hear that meme playing. It was at that moment he knew he screwed up.
Right. So we do see the Shadow of Vengeance in there as Maiev tethers them back, pulls them into the feast, gets a lot of damage out on Artanis, but the 5-man Ring of Frost will at least slow them down, and there goes the Syndragosa trying to keep him slow as well. Brintone at the bottom, though, by himself.
No call-up for the ring, down 16. Oh,
It looks like that's going to be the end of that.
Uthers won. That was a great ring, though.
Absolutely. And this is, you know, again, so this is like that other scenario we talked about earlier on Tomb of the Spider Queen. Like, right now, your job is to go soak. You're down 2 players. You're spending 30, 40 seconds here doing exactly nothing. Like, poking the enemy team is doing you no good when you have a full wave in both mid and bot that you could have soaked, gotten 16.
Soak, do camps. That's these goats are super strong, like we just said. Soak and do camps. Don't just, you know, sit there.
Yeah, and we see, like, you know, Jaina went down now, so they're electing to do that now after the Punisher's on the map. You guys got to do that before. You got to take advantage of every second in this game, because just like in the real world, you don't get them back.
All right. But this was a great play 30 seconds ago.
Right. Well, 30 seconds earlier, yeah.
Yeah.
So this Punisher is going to jump over the wall, I assume, here in a moment. It is an arcane Punisher, so it's just getting loads of laser value, and it's a late game Punisher, so it's going to do a ton of damage to these heroes if they get stopped. Go on, Munkus, talk about it.
Sorry. Huge root, followed by the cage. Late game Punishers are and it barely walks away. Poor Jaina. There's that blow up. There's those stuns. They're so huge. Dive. You can't walk up like that, Sylvanas. Oh man, that might be game.
It could be. This is a low keep here. They don't have a whole lot of Punisher, but they've got 10 seconds before Artanis, and all their damage is dead for almost 30 seconds. They have decent enough siege here that I think that this is going to be game for them.
It's absolutely game. One thing I'll notice. There are a lot of times during this game where 4 Uthers would have escaped from a team fight. They were safe. They were all right and fine. Then they kind of approach Censored, and then no, blown up and dive.
Yeah. Alrighty, so stats-wise, 1 to 16 on the kills there.
I think that's the tail of the tape right there.
It is.
But it's especially, it's 1 to 16, but look at the damage numbers. Uther actually did more damage with their primary damage sources, with 50,000 and 41,000 compared to 44 and 42. But they didn't have anything to finish people off. They had a lot of area damage. They didn't have something to secure the kill.
Yeah, for sure. It was, you know, it was a tough matchup. They had Censored had a really solid comp to generate, you know, CC chains and dive and punish people who were, you know, maybe a little bit outside of position, and they really, I mean, they deserve that 2-0. So right. Let's go ahead and let's take 5 minutes here while we get set up for our next match, which is going to be the Backbone CS versus Randy Newman, coming at you from Div D West. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. As soon as I find the... There we go.